Ghosts, UFOs, unexplained encounters, and the question that keeps so many people awake at night. What if the paranormal experiences are connected to something much bigger than we realized? Tonight, we're joined by paranormal researcher and host of the Salsido Paranormal, James Salsido. From hauntings and spiritual encounters to consciousness to high strangeness and unexplained phenomenon, we're diving deep into the mysteries that refuse to go away. This is one conversation you don't want to miss. Welcome everybody to the Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harvey, and tonight we really have an interesting guest joining us. If you're into paranormal experiences, supernatural encounters, unexplained mystery, spirituality connected to the paranormal, UFO phenomenon, or high strangeness cases, tonight's episode is absolutely for you. Our guest tonight is James Salsido, host of the Salsido Paranormal, where he explores everything from ghostly encounters and paranormal investigations to consciousness, out-of-body experiences, and the deeper side of spiritual phenomena. James has spent years discussing strange experiences and interviewing people who have had encounters with things they simply cannot explain. And tonight we're going to dive deep into some of those topics ourselves. Hey James, welcome to the Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast. Oh hey James, hold on a second. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I thought I recorded this, but we got to start over here real quick.
No
All right,
problem.
so let me reintroduce you. All right, so without further ado, let's welcome James. James, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today. And he's going to talk about, number one, why his screen is kind of dark real quick. He is legally blind, so he'll talk about that in a second. And also, we will be discussing what got him into the paranormal and what he does with his podcast and what he talks about. So, without further ado, James, please, I'm sorry, start over again. We had a little technical issue there, so go ahead.
Wait, technical issues on a show? That never happens. That happens to everyone. But no, I was born legally blind. And so what got me interested in all this is experiences. I went to visit my cousin at his new house. His parents bought a new house. This was back in the 90s. Yeah, 90s. I'm 44 now. This was about 30 years ago. And so at the time, as kids, we were not interested in anything paranormal or horror or anything like that. We were mainly into video games and Saturday morning action kind of superhero cartoons, that kind of thing.
Right on.
So my cousin decided that first time I visited, we were going to sleep in the basement.
Oh no.
Isn't that funny? But we had no idea. We never heard anything about, how some of the most common places for activity is basements and attics.
Right.
And it was a good sized basement. But there was still, they hadn't even finished unpacking everything yet. They were still in the middle of it. Because it was my aunt and uncle and two daughters and then their son. And so the basement was just full of stuff that was in the middle of being unpacked. But there was, pathways leading around and everything. And the lights were those kind that you pull a string to turn it on or off. So we only had the light on above us and the light on by the stairs leading up to the ground floor. Because that's where the bathroom was at. So kind of needed to have that on.
Yeah.
And there was this big couch bed in the basement. And so for a couple of kids, it was huge. It was a good sized bed. And we were just sitting on the bed talking. They had these clotheslines strung up across the near the ceiling all around the basement to hang laundry. Because family of five,
Yeah.
And so they had these sheets hanging down they had just washed linens, I guess. Sheets hanging down from a lot of these clotheslines. So my cousin and I happened to look back into the space behind the stairwell, which was the darkest part of the basement at the time because there were no lights on back there. And above the furthest clothesline, we both saw just the head of an older woman above this clothesline.
Oh no.
And
that's not creepy.
No, and well, especially when there was, these clotheslines are like at least 5.5 feet up, probably in the air. I
Wow.
mean, you know, and there's nothing, there were no feet on the ground. There was nothing for anyone to stand on back there. And the other fascinating part of this is, so as I mentioned, I'm legally blind. I am extremely nearsighted. So there is no way that I could have physically seen what I saw. It should have just been a blur, sort of like a flesh color blur surrounded by like white hair, like a white, semicircle
Yeah.
almost of the hair. But I could see this woman staring at us and sort of frowning at us, like, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" And she had glasses on,
Hmm.
like round glasses, and these bright, I'm not sure if they were blue eyes, but they were bright eyes. I remember that much. And we started to freak out because what was this? And even as a kid back then, I knew that something was wrong because I could see that image so clearly. And we tried to figure out what to do. We didn't want to go upstairs and wake up the rest of the family and bring them down and have whatever this was be gone,
Right.
because then we'd be in a ton of trouble for waking everybody up. Both
Right.
my aunt and uncle, they had times during the week where they would be out at night for work. My dad and my uncle have had a classic rock band for 50 plus years,
Awesome.
and
That's
and
awesome.
then my former aunt used to be work nights as a nurse.
Hmm.
So when the family was home at night, you know, it needed to
Right.
be an emergency to wake anyone up.
Right.
And so we just decided, well, we're just not going to look into that back corner anymore for the rest of this night. And that's how we saw a cat in between us and the stairs, which we there had not been. They didn't have a cat at the time, but at first we thought it was a regular cat, and we were interested because we both like cats, and we were going to get up and try to figure out where it had been hiding, if it had been hiding, if it had gotten in during the move, figure out what this cat was doing there. And so we got out of the couch bed, but of course, since we were kids and it was a big couch bed, we had to look away as we were getting out, still trying not to look into that back corner where that woman was at. And by the time we turned around to where the cat had been, it was gone. No noise, even on a concrete floor with all kinds of boxes and paperwork and other stuff all over the place. No sound of this cat moving away.
Wow.
No sound of it even getting to where it was at, which was odd to me. And, now I think about it, we could have gone one or two, or we could have gone two directions with this. We could have either just ran out of there completely, or what we did, we just retreated back to the bed. And when we got back into the bed, the cat was there again.
Wow.
Now, again, no sound, and it was occupying the same space as this small wicker basket with some like stationery envelopes in it.
Hmm.
And so we had no idea what was going on. So we just decided, okay, well, we're just going to look at each other and not look at anything else in this basement. And that was all we could think of to do. And of course, as you hear so often in experiences, eventually we fell asleep.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So I
So
wonder, did you ever find out who the lady was?
no, nope. We had other experiences in the house, but never saw her again. Um, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, you hear sometimes same entities can take different shapes, or it could have been separate. What we saw after the fact, but yeah. So no, we never did, and I didn't think to try to look into any kind of history until many, many years later. Uh, and basically like 20 some years later, and by this time, the house wasn't even in the family anymore. So kind of didn't think about that until it was almost too late, basically.
Right. What did you find out about the house?
Not much really. Just we never, like I said, I never got to look into it. I tried looking online, but I didn't have the exact address, and so I just tried looking up general sort of paranormal reports in the area, and again, didn't really find much um, that I could link to that house. So, also because I'm legally blind, I don't look at a lot of text documents. I
Right.
haven't for many years. So, there has to be a really sort of the only thing I really look at now for as far as text goes is like stuff online for my own podcast that I do,
Right.
Salsido Paranormal, and that's about it. So, but yeah, so I don't know what that was, but it's to me it's amazing that again I saw things as clearly as I did when I should not have been able to.
Right. And so that started your paranormal journey.
Yeah, yeah, that, and then just many other experiences over the years,
Awesome.
and uh, and then finding shows online, podcasts and things online, uh,
Yeah.
and then just thinking about it and thinking about all the experiences I've had and continuing to have them. At some point, about almost 6 years ago now, it'll be 6 years. This Halloween will be the 6th year anniversary of the show.
Awesome.
I
Well,
just started thinking.
congratulations.
Thank you. I just started thinking. I have so much that I could talk about, and I'll try it out, see how it goes. You know.
Right. That's what happened to me. A bunch of my friends were like, "You've been researching the paranormal for over 30 years. You need to do a podcast." I'm like, "I have no idea what I'm doing." I said, "Get
Oh
a
yeah,
microphone and get a camera and sit in front of it and tell your stories." I'm like, "Okay." My first
yeah,
podcast, I think, was like 4 minutes. The next one was like 6 minutes. Those aren't even on anything anymore. I think I deleted them. But after that, I was just surprised that like 30 or 40 people actually listened. And I'm like, damn, okay. So somebody might be actually interested in what I have to say. And now we're doing pretty dang well. I mean, we're getting over 100,000 downloads a month. So that's pretty dang
wow.
good. And a lot of people are interested in what we do. So,
Yeah, I'm nowhere near that level yet, but I do have, some here and there and yeah, no, that's amazing though.
yeah, they say in the third to fourth year is when you start to take off as a podcaster. So,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah, it's what it sounds like from what I've heard of your podcasts and some stuff I actually looked at. Sounds like well, basically you have basically the same, a lot of the same experiences I do. Out of out of body experiences, dealing with ghosts and stuff like that since you were a kid. I mean, it seems like a lot of us have the same story. It's pretty interesting to meet other people that have almost exactly the same story as me. And, how you just kind of got into the paranormal through basically having experiences and stuff like that. So, anyways, tell us about your podcast. What all do you do? And, what are some of your favorite stories that you've heard?
Yeah, a lot of what I do is I look up online, just post online from people who share their own experiences. Funny enough, it's sort of a divisive website, but most of what I find online, I find on Reddit,
Oh, okay.
as far as people posting things, and it's been a lot of fun. So I share those every so often. I'll put out several shows of just me reading those and then giving my thoughts on them. So that's the one thing I love to do. I do also. I've been going through and reading the the complete nonfiction books of Charles Fort
Oh, cool.
and commenting on that. It's really amazing with him to me because he was commenting a lot of things and researching a lot of things that you might call, let's say, UFOs or alien or whatever
Yeah.
before those words were even around.
All right.
So that's been a lot of fun. And then I have a co-host that we cover a topic every week, every other week, um, or so, different topic, whatever we're interested in, and whatever comes up through our show, my show, and then uh, also, of course, like I said, anything is possible. Ricky's show, and then Ricky and I both we belong to a community for a show called Troubled Minds Radio,
Oh, cool.
which has their own online radio station, and we're both actually our shows are on that as well. And
Nice.
so yeah, a lot of conversation happens between all the different shows, and
Hmm.
so yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing that. And I've been going through with my co-host every other week or so, I basically been sharing all my experiences that I can remember with her, and we talk about them after. And I think I have a couple more of those shows to go.
That's awesome, man. So, what's your favorite subject in the paranormal?
Oh boy, it might be um, apports or objects that vanish and or appear or both. Uh,
Yeah, I've had a few of those experiences.
yeah, I've had at least one myself. Uh, a phone charger several years ago. I've had many experiences, still have them here and there in my apartment that I live in right now, that I'm sitting in right now. And there was this one point, I don't know, a couple of years or so after I moved in, this is about 18, 19 years ago. Uh, I had a phone charger sitting on a chair because I live alone. Um, I have a cat that I live with, and that's it. And I didn't even have her yet at the time, though. And I had this phone charger sitting on a chair because I have extra chairs just for when company comes over, which hardly ever does. I mainly go visit family elsewhere. But and so I knew I had set it on this one chair, and this one day I needed to charge my phone, so I went to grab the charger, and it was not on the chair.
Wow.
And when I look for things, I don't just look with my eyes because my eyes don't work so well. So I actually feel around, where I know I had set something,
Right.
and it was not there. And I was looking all around the apartment for it, could not find it. And this was after I'd had other experiences here, so I finally said out loud, which I hardly ever do because you hear so many stories about, you never know how that's going to go. Um, but I said out loud, if anyone can help me find my phone charger, I'd appreciate it because if my phone runs out of power, my family's going to wonder what's happening and they're going to come over here. And so then I stopped looking for the phone for a few hours. Later on that day, I decided, well, I'll check around again. And went back to that chair. It was right where it had been before.
Wow.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah, I don't know. And the biggest question to me about all these, and whenever it comes to objects vanishing and reappearing, is how often is there an intelligence behind it, and how often is it just some mechanic or some variable within reality that causes things to vanish and or appear?
Yeah, exactly.
Because sometimes it seems like it's an intelligent response, other times it's just this makes no sense.
Exactly. It's almost like we're flipping through dimensions and like something comes through a dimension and takes something and then it disappears. And you're like, wait, what? You know it's there somewhere, but you just can't find it. It's just like, okay, I know it's here. It was just right here a minute ago, and you turn around, it's gone. Then you turn back around, it's there again. You're like, what in the heck just happened? Did we cross across into another dimension, or did a ghost take it and take it into another dimension, or did they take it in? Are they just hiding it somewhere? I've got some
Yeah.
mischievous little ghosts here that like to mess with stuff, especially the TV. So.
Oh boy. I have one that likes to open one of my closet doors, the closet right across from my kitchen, and 9 times out of 10, I don't ever hear it when it happens, which is amazing because it's a
Yeah.
sliding metal folding door. So usually it'll make some sound.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times I'll be here the whole time before it's open and after it's open the whole time, and I'll just find it open. Um, but yeah,
So
but
what's
yeah.
one of the best stories you've ever heard from one of your listeners, or what you got off Reddit?
Oh boy. Well, again, going back to objects vanishing and appearing, there's this one post I found a few years ago where someone said that in their house where they live with their family, there was this one day where their dad was in the kitchen and they had this weird spot in their kitchen that no one ever liked to walk in. It felt like you were gonna like falling almost, or like it just felt like a weird area. And this one day that the father was in the kitchen in this one spot, and the phone fell. His cell phone fell out of his pocket or something, and he heard it hit the floor. But then he looked down at the floor; he could not find it. The
Wow.
family tore apart that kitchen trying to find this phone, could not find it. were
Jeez,
not able to find it that day at all.
crazy.
Now, some years later, a few years later, the family was in the house. The person that made this post was in the house. They heard a sound like something hitting the kitchen floor. They found the phone
Dang.
right where it had fallen, and you know, like it had traveled through time somehow.
Yeah, yeah,
And of course, the and I don't blame anyone for this because you just don't always know what to post or what details to include or what to leave out. Or I always just wonder with that story though. Okay, what was the status of that phone once they got it back again? Did it have any power left?
that's a good
And
question.
if they would have checked it, what would the date have said on it? Like what were the systems like in that thing after it went through whatever that was?
Right. Almost makes you wonder if like a small portal opened up or something, or they
Yeah.
crossed through a dimension and crossed back. That's something I wonder if it's been going on for a long time or if it's happening now where we're crossing through different dimensions, with all this, deja vu and everybody's having now, and how,
Yeah.
people see signs and stuff like that, like JC Penney's is spelled wrong and all
Mm.
this other stuff that's going on. And just makes me wonder if there's something more to that, if we're really experiencing something paranormal. Maybe we're crisscrossing through dimensions or whatever. A lot of people blame CERN for that, but I don't know if that's them doing it or if we're just glitching back and forth or what's happening or there's an issue with the matrix or, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see. I know what you mean because I've had some weird experiences myself with, and I found reports of experiences where people. I'll just go with this real quick and then get to my own. But I found a couple of posts online from people saying that they got into serious car accidents, and when they came out of it, they were told by the authorities, "We don't know how you survived, this wreck." But then they would go back to be with family and visit family and friends and things, and they noticed that their family looked different to them. They had different like eye colors,
Yeah.
like or their hair was different, or like facial features,
Hmm.
or the opposite. Their family would say, "Well, wow, you look different to us." And so, I mean, I know that some people may say, "Ah, that's not possible," and that's fine. I don't expect anyone to, to believe what I believe or say,
Right.
except that, I know things, but it just makes me think that that seems possible. And I've had experiences, I feel like they're out of body experiences, but they're also traveling. It's like I end up traveling sometimes when I'm asleep to alternate, I don't know, what do you want to call them, universes or dimensions or levels of reality where I'm with family, but they're not the same as they are here.
Right.
Or I have different siblings that I don't have here. Uh, I had one where I found myself in this house where my former stepfather and my mom used to live when they were married. And there's two of these that were really weird. The first one was weird because I was with them and their three daughters. Now, they only had one daughter
Huh.
here. And it seemed normal in the experience, but then when I woke up, I felt like, well, what was that? That doesn't make sense. But I had another one where I found myself on the couch in that same house, and it was almost like I landed on this couch. And I say that because I heard footsteps from upstairs, and this little boy came down the stairs. He looked like he was the son of my mom and my former stepdad. They never had a son.
Wow.
And then my mom came down, and she was her, but it was like she was slightly different. And she saw me, and it was like she knew what was happening. It was like it had happened before,
Hmm.
except I don't remember it, but apparently somehow she did. And she was just comforting me like everything's okay, it's fine. And then everything faded, and I woke up here again.
Crazy. Almost like you're transporting through time and space as you're sleeping.
And what I really wonder about that too is it just me? Is it just this version of me? Or are other versions of me, are we trading, in other words?
Mm-hmm.
Are other versions of me waking up here and like, what is this apartment?
Right. Hey
I
guys,
don't
so
know.
go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no, I don't know the answer to that because I haven't, as of yet, I haven't met any other versions of me. Luckily, I think that would be, uh,
Crazy. Hey
yeah.
guys, if you've had an experience like this and you're listening or watching, go ahead and comment down below. Let us know what your experiences have been. We'd love to hear about them. All right. Well, that's crazy. Yeah, it just seems like things are getting stranger and stranger as we go. Even with the paranormal. The paranormal seems to be
Mhm.
changing itself too. The hauntings are getting more, um, you know, like intelligent. Seems like the spirits are getting more intelligent. They're being able to do more stuff than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know if you've experienced this, but it seems like there's more intelligent haunts and other things going on at this point. And it seems like, a lot more creatures and stuff have come out. It used to be just Bigfoot and a few other creatures. Now there's Dog Man. You got Lizard Man. You got, what else? Goat Man. You got
Well,
all
and you have
sorts of
these
paranormal
tall,
creatures coming out that weren't here before.
yeah,
And it just makes you wonder
yeah,
if
and
maybe
then
they're
you
coming
have,
through.
yeah, sorry, yeah, no, and then you have I found posts online about from people saying they've seen these just tall white humanoid creatures, but no face or no facial features, or like it's almost like a blank slate
Hmm.
of a being that people see. And I really wonder, what that's about too.
Maybe angelic.
I don't know. And it's not always, big part of what I try to focus on my show is it's not all negative. You
Yeah.
know, there's this so much in popular culture and in a lot of the TV shows and things like that. And I don't blame all the investigators on the TV shows. I blame the networks,
Yeah.
the big companies that, have to make their money. And the horror, and not that there's anything wrong with horror, but there's this idea that so many people have because they don't think about it or they haven't had experiences, or they have and they figure, well, if it's on all these paranormal investigation TV shows, it must be accurate. But the whole idea was
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
demons. Drives
Uh,
me up a wall.
yeah. I remember when we were working with Fox, they wanted us to, we were basically a TAPS family member team. Back then, we were the California Ghost Hunters.
Mm,
And they wanted to change us to, something different than we were. They wanted to knock on walls and they wanted to try and scare us while we were in there. And I'm like, this is not, Fear
mm,
Factor or something like that. They wanted to kind of mix uh,
yeah,
fear with that show that was on MTV with ghost hunting. And I'm like, that's not going to work. You can't create
yeah,
false evidence and stuff like that and have people, like it. I mean, it's going to look stupid, creating fake EVPs and stuff like that to just, prove your case. If a place is actually haunted, um, we want to show that there's paranormal activity going on. If there's nothing going on in that location, there's just nothing going on in that location. And they're all about basically the activity. They want activity to be going 24/7, and I don't blame them because that's what people want to see. But people don't realize that like 90% of the time you go into a location, you don't get any activity. Especially on the first time.
yeah,
So I don't know what your experience with that is, but in my experience, that's basically you go into a new location and sometimes you don't experience anything. And so that's what the networks, pay all this money to get into these locations and rent, whole
yep,
industrial buildings and stuff. And they're looking for everybody to have an experience so that they can have an exciting show. And you can't blame them. I mean, they put thousands of dollars into,
no.
setting these shows up and stuff like that. So, but anyways, what are your experiences with your paranormal investigations? Do you go in? Do you have do you normally get activity, or does it take a while? How do you do your investigations?
I actually, because of my low vision and just not much income here, I'm on a low fixed income. I don't really do a lot of investigations.
Yeah,
Most of what I do is just the podcast. So, but even just day to day, I mean, I'm not having experiences in my apartment 24/7. There's just no
yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's like maybe once a week,
Hmm.
you know, and sometimes it's not once a week, sometimes it's like once every other week.
Yeah.
Um, and that's how it is. And I will say I really liked the very beginning of Ghost Hunters, the TV show that was made about taps.
Right.
When they first started, I liked that show because it was different.
Hmm.
If they were able to figure out logical explanations for things,
Right.
they showed that,
Right.
you know, and but then over time, I could tell the network started getting more and more involved
Hmm.
and pushing things, and
Yeah.
I felt bad for the people, the actual investigators there because I can't imagine, dealing with that. And but yeah, it's I've been on a few investigations with a local group. They had different investigations, like paranormal investigation events at historical sites, and those were a lot of fun. Partly because they charged for tickets, but all the money went to the place.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and I love that idea.
Hmm.
I wish that would happen more, to be
Right.
honest, with more places.
Well, these historical locations are full of paranormal activity most of the time. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, just making sure that we keep those places going is
yeah.
important. Otherwise, we won't be able to go back to those locations.
And being respectful of the history, but also of whoever may be there. I mean, that's another, I think, a very important thing, uh, because, who knows if there's anyone there, then why would, like I've heard and seen different shows before where it's people are going in there and they're just yelling at whoever's there,
Yeah,
or being
exactly.
insulting, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah. Well, I always say my analogy is if I came into your living room and you had no idea who I was, and I started,
Yeah,
being aggressive towards you, or just start asking question after question, and didn't have any clue who you were or have any history about you, you're probably going to go, no, get the heck out of my house. I don't want anything to do with you. But if I come in and I say, hey, James, I know you've been living here for 10 years and I know you died this way and I know exactly
right.
what happened to you and I know about your life and I ask you questions about your life, you're more than likely going to go, oh, okay, well, this guy's kind of cool. Maybe I may interact with him.
Yeah,
Take that with a grain of salt, but and talk to you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes several times in to get to know somebody. And some people, I think that people are however they were in life, they are in death. If they were shy during
yes,
lifetime, they're going to be shy during death time too. They're not going to want to communicate. So, anyways,
yeah.
we're down to our last couple of minutes here. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well, just another example of objects vanishing and appearing. I have a friend that wanted to send me a just like a little arts and crafts type thing they made inspired by my show, and but they also wanted to buy one of my books. I've been writing for years, and you
Awesome.
can find all my links at for the show and for the writing I do over at my website, which I'll plug in a second here. But so they wanted to buy a book as well, so they sent out a package, and I bought a copy of my book to send to them once I got the package with the payment in it. And I had this book, and I left it on a table, and it got to be the day when I was expecting the package to arrive from my friend, and I could not find that book anywhere. And I had left it in the packaging, so I know what it was, and I could not find it. It like vanished. I thought I moved
Wow.
it, not sure. I never did find it. But the day that the package from my friend was supposed to arrive, I checked the mail. It was not in there, but either another copy or that same copy of my book was in the mailbox.
Weird.
So I brought it inside thinking, well, yeah, that's odd. And I thought, well, oh, well, maybe the package from my friend will be here another day. And the next morning, I was thinking about that again, and I decided to look around for that initial book. I found a package on my dining room table I did not recognize. It had not been there before. It was the package from my friend.
Oh, crazy.
Completely different type of packaging from the book, everything. And I don't know how that happened.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Talk about going through dimensions or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things
So,
just moving around on their own, changing on their own. Yeah. Like we're
yep.
crisscrossing through dimensions, I tell you, we are.
I think so. I've had, I gave two examples, but I've had so many more experiences, and not all of them positive either, which is why I never try to have these experiences because you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to say for anyone that's curious about what I do, if you check out my website, salsidoparanormal.com, that's SALSIDO paranormal.com. That's where you can find my show and also links to the book I was talking about. I have several different books. So, but yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on. And his information and everything will be linked down below, both on the audio and video podcast for you guys to go check out his links to his books and his podcast. I definitely recommend if you like our podcast, you'll probably like his. He's very similar to ours, but he looks more into the spiritual side of things as we look into more of the case file type of things. So, James, thanks so much for coming on with us, and we will catch you guys on the next one.